Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a review of Fort Knox Vaults. They kindly invited me down to do a tour of their manufacturing facility where they make their safes. How could I say no? Let's check this one out. Hey everybody, as I say, we're down here at Fort Knox to do a tour. Phil, thank you very much for taking the time to do this tour for me. Could you give me just a little bit of info about Fort Knox, kind of, you know, when you started and things like that?
Sure. Back in 1982, my dad started Fort Knox as a company. So we've been operating for just over 40 years now. It's still family owned. We've got about 3 generations in the office right now. And so, yeah. It's good, family owned and American made.
Perfect. And everything is American made. I mean, that's not just a line. Everything is custom made here in Orem, Utah, right?
Yep, 100% of our line is American made, even down to our pistol boxes. And even that's a family operation. And so, you know, we bend everything, we weld everything here. Everything's made with American steel. So we're the most American made safe out there right now.
Very cool. And I have already, spoiler alert, took a little bit of a tour, and he is not lying, but he's going to take you around and he's going to explain some of the processes, again, for me and for you guys to see the quality and the premium safes that they do make. So get excited for this one, guys.
So this is our build shop. This is where the body of the safe starts. Everything you see behind me, this is American made steel, American sourced, okay? We get it from a local supplier here, but everything comes in flat steel. We take it over the bending press over there. We bend up all of our boxes, and then we weld the tops and bottoms on it. We'll get to that point here in just a minute. But everything we do here at Fort Knox is American sourced and American made. Well, and there's 2 things that we really control there. When we source American steel, we know exactly what we're getting, where it's coming from, and everything else. The other thing is a family business. We don't have to cut the corners.
Yeah.
To make, we're not after making stockholders rich and everything else.
Yeah, no, that's
right.
Good.
And so, you know, we use good quality stuff. We're not cutting corners. We're not doing any of that. So this is the door shop. This is where all the components come in, and this is where we put our doors together. Cool. One thing that makes Fort Knox different is you look around here, this is all of our security plate. And at Fort Knox, the security plate goes from corner to corner on the door. It covers 100% of the door.
Nice.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you did mention sometimes on, we're not going to name obviously anybody, but on some cheaper brands, they typically don't do from edge to edge, right? They typically sometimes will cheap out a little bit. And this is why he's pointing out that these are full length solid steel, because some companies will actually cut corners and they'll actually not have the full length. So it's really impressive that they actually do this, making your safe super secure. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, a lot of companies that, you know, a cheap, easy way that the consumer can't see is to shorten this up by about 60%. And it only holds the bolt works and the lock somewhere in this area.
Yeah.
And so at that point in time, you probably only have a 10 gauge shell protecting over your door. Fort Knox, all of our doors are made out of, the shell is 10 gauge. And then depending on what model you get, we go all the way from 10 gauge up to 1/2 inch of steel in the door.
That's some pretty thick steel.
Yeah, and we can do exotic metals. We can do AR 500. We can do stainless steel in there also to help with the drilling and cutting. And I don't know of any other companies that are actually feeding that into their entire safe production. Yeah, so what we've got here is an in-swing vault door. And basically, what we're getting ready to do is put all the mechanism, the pin work and everything on the inside. As you can see here, the security plate's in, it's covering the full length and width of the door. They've got everything clamped into place, and what they'll do is they'll go in and weld this plate all the way around, and then go ahead and put the mechanism in. There's some holes in here for the locks and the gearing and everything else. But that's what we got set up here on this one. So what we've got here is a safe that they're getting ready to mount the door. The door is in, and it's in place. And what they've done is they've spaced it out so we have proper spacing all the way around. And then they will come in and they will put the hinges on and weld those in place. What you're seeing here is we have to space it out a little bit so when the door opens, it will clear the edges. But there's not a pry bar in the world that can get down deep enough into this recess to pry this door out. They're just not strong enough. And in order to get in that gap, it has to be so thin that pry bar will fail before the door will. All right, so yes, when we were looking on that safe on its back when we were putting the fire protection in, this is what it looks like when it's final and done. And so what we do is we stud weld those in. You can see that process. And then we don't use any glue. Glue turns to goo at about 500 degrees and it'll steam off and just kind of create a mess. And you don't want to hold your fire protection in with glue. So what we do is we stud weld it in with these studs. And then we put this piece of sheet metal over the top to hold everything in place, because during a fire, safes will move. It's very much like throwing a can into a fire and watching it crinkle and expand and do that. Safes will do the same thing in the fire. So thinner body safes will move a lot more, right? With our thicker steel, this fire protection stays in place better. Also, this holds all the fireboard in place during a burn. The other thing that this does is this is what our shelf standards screw into. We're not screwing into the fireboard, we're screwing into a piece of steel. And that's on both sides, and then it holds everything in place. And so we maintain our air gap because everything's stud welded, it's not glued in, it doesn't move. And so we maintain our air gap, we maintain our fire protection throughout the entirety of the burn. So like I said at Fort Knox, a lot of it's the little things that we do. You'll notice that there's grind marks on the side of this safe. What we do is we take a piece of AR plate that's super hard to drill. AR plate's the same type of steel that you shoot at with your metal targets. What we do is we put them on there for punch protection, for drill protection to get into the body of the door. Back in the 80s and 90s, this was a big way to enter into the safe. And so we've just left that punch protection on there, creating a more secure safe. So at Fort Knox, the other thing we do is, because we do grind these to make them look nice, we do full penetration welds inside and out. And that's what I was showing you over in the build shop when the gentleman was welding down. You could see that heat and that weld come through. It's 100% penetrated, full penetration weld inside and out. And so therefore, nobody's cracking this like an egg. So this is one we've prepped. We've got the Bondo on here that we're gonna roll out, sand down, make it all smooth. But this gives you that fine Fort Knox finish at the end. We've just done all the imperfections that we can, and this one's just about ready to go into the sanding shop to get smoothed out. But you can see we've covered all the welds so they look nice and smooth, and you just get that premium finish that we do here. So to get a high quality finish, a paint finish and everything else on a safe, it's all about the prep work, right? Prep work and product. And so as you look at this, all the steel that we saw earlier been cleaned up. You can see how clean it is. We get rid of all the imperfections. We grind everything down. We make sure all the corners are smoothed out, and we do this throughout the entirety of the safe, right? Anywhere we've welded, anywhere we've ground, we just want to make sure it's perfect. And so to get a fantastic paint job, you have to spend time in the prep area. You know, and we run, I mean, this is basically a full automotive body shop is what we're running. And so, you know, you look at your classic car stuff like that, they're done with the very same process that we do. Okay, so here's one that's ready for paint. It's been primered a little bit, but you can see how it's all sanded down nice and smooth everywhere. I really don't want to touch it because they've prepped it for paint. I don't want my greasy fingers to get on it. And so they'll wipe this down, they'll get it all nice and pretty, and then we'll put it in one of our paint booths, and we'll go ahead and apply our acrylic paint. We don't powder coat here because there's certain processes there that will mess with the fire protection, and so we just don't powder coat anything. We do everything with an acrylic paint. So at Fort Knox, there's a lot of things that we do that you can't see on the finished product, and this is one of them. This is AR 500 plate, 3/16 that we put inside. So now you've got a safe inside of a safe. This is the same type of still that you're shooting at with your targets, practice, stuff like that. It makes it drill resistant and cut resistant so much more. If you're putting more than $40,000-$50,000 into a safe, you want to put AR 500 into it. For guys like you and I, man, when we hit that 40, 50, 60 years old, sometimes it takes a lifetime to accumulate all that wealth. You don't want to put it into an inferior safe. And put that extra security. It's a one-time insurance policy that's going to last you a lifetime. And everything we do, as we've looked at the construction and the quality of everything that we use, the reason why we do that is so we can offer you a lifetime warranty. At Fort Knox, we do premium colors. We've talked about the paints and everything else. This is our standard paint lineup, which is 2 to 3 times more than any other safe company out there. And so if you can't find the color here, man, give me a call. We'll figure something out.
That's awesome. And then actually, I think I saw that you guys do two-tone paints as well. Kind of one for the kind of the body and one for the doors.
Yeah, we'll do two-tone paints where you can match 2 of them together, one for body, one for a door. And we'll also do a fade, which is probably more common, which it just kind of fades from one color to another. Oh, okay. And so I've seen all sorts of mix and matches of these colors. And so just let your mind go and be creative and make your own safe. So this is our finished detail area. This is where basically all the safes become a Fort Knox. This is where we put the name on them. This is where we put the interiors in and lights and everything you can see here. We've got multiple different colors of interiors, multiple different configurations. Whatever works for you, we could probably match it up. All right, so what we've got here is our redundant lock system. Okay, it's one locking body and it's controlled by 2 different input methods. So for speed and convenience, you can use the keypad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the code. But then you have to turn it back because it mechanically lifts that deadbolt out of the gearing system. If this ever fails for any reason, the electronic, you've always got the backup here that you can get into the safe using the combination. And so it's just a redundant kind of backup, but it's good if you've got kids or somebody else. You can lock the dial, so the dial won't turn, so they can't open it, even if they do know the electric code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If mom and dad have the key, they can't open that. And so, but the key just keeps the honest people honest. So this is our dial lock here. It's on a Spartan door. Basically, you can put your 3-digit combination in there as you dial it in, very much like you did in high school or something like that. And then you turn it back to 87 where it'll stop and you can open the door. You can change this combination at any time if you need to. Once again, it has the key to lock the dial so you can't turn it. This is our E-lock, S&G E-lock. We use Titans. Pretty simple setup, makes it convenient for your safe to use. Obviously, the default code on this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pound. And then you go ahead and you can turn that mechanism to open the safe. Convenient, reliable, easy to use. Fort Knox has been using E-locks since the late 80s. Once again, everything in Fort Knox's lineup is 100% lifetime warranty.
All right, everybody, that concludes the tour. I've had a blast. I've learned a lot about safes, and it's been really fun interacting with you and your team. You got to check these guys out. If you're local, especially in Orem or in Utah Valley or even up in Salt Lake, come down and talk to these guys. They're really cool, and they will give you a lot of great advice and maybe what you need and things like that. But yeah, I genuinely really appreciate your time. I've really loved this tour. But maybe you can tell people where they can check you out and things like that if they want more information.
Yeah, if you want to go online, you can go to ftnox.com. And you could build a safe right there. You can put different layers of steel in. You can change the colors. You can do all sorts of things that you want to do there and just kind of see what fits your style. And then we'll give you a quote right there online, and one of our representatives will reach out to you. We're really no pressure. We just want to say hi and make sure you're getting everything you need and all your questions answered. And so, at the end of the day, it's your stuff. It's your security. Spend the money, spend it right, and do it right, do it once.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right, folks, that is it for this video. Please like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Leave comments down below if you have any questions or comments. As you know, I'm always happy to help out, and maybe these guys will see it and then maybe comment and help you out too. But that's it from me. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.